me. Oh, there we go. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jordan. If you are not new here, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for coming back. Last video was every book that I've read so far this year, and this video is sort of a collective book haul. These are all books that I've been collecting since July. I have read some of them. Some of them will be in my October reading wrap up, and some of them you've already seen because, you know, I've been getting them and reading them. That's why packages are open already, because I've been taking books from like individual packages and reading them. So every package is pretty much open, and I just can't help myself when I get a book in the mail. I have to take it out, examine it, look at it. And so yeah, these are those. Except for four of them. Four of them are just books that were already on my physical TBR. I figured I would go ahead and show y'all those. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get into it because I don't want a long intro, and I know y'all don't want me to have a long intro. So yeah, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. You know, might as well, you're here. I'm sure this is probably my second video you've seen of mine. So, and if it's the first video you've seen of mine, go ahead and watch my other video because this is the second one. So go watch the other one. Anyways, I'm rambling. You see a lot of booktubers talking about book of the month. A lot of people get their books from there. I'm not really a hardcover kind of gal. I'll dibble and dabble every now and again with a hardcover, but I do prefer paperback just because it's more comfortable for me. Especially if it's a thick book, I prefer paperback. But yeah, since book of the month is hardcover, I probably won't get too many books from there, but I did get this one, so let's go ahead and open it. It came with a bookmark, so that's good because I always use just random things like receipts and cards. And then it also comes with this right here, which is, I guess, like some sort of pamphlet. I've looked at it, but I don't remember. The book I got from book of the month is Someday Maybe by Onyi Wabanelli. Wabanelli. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. I don't want to butcher anybody's name. But yeah, I got Someday Maybe. Actually, I'm just gonna read it, y'all. Here are 3 things you should know about my husband. 1, he was the great love of my life despite his penchant for going incommunicado. 2, he was, as far as I and everyone else could tell, perfectly happy, which is significant because 3, on New Year's Eve, he killed himself. And here is 1 thing you should know about me. 1, I found him. Bonus fact, no, I am not okay. So obviously when I read that, I was like, oh, I have to read that because what do you mean? I couldn't fathom. This is also a book that I've never really seen anybody talk about on BookTube or just in the book space in general. So I really wanted to read this. I'm also trying to read more Black authors, and I've never heard of this author. This will be my first read by her. So I definitely wanted to pick this up and, you know, see what it's about. It's a Nigerian author also. It was something else I was gonna say. Oh, if they've been like highly talked about or discussed on or within the book community, I'm not gonna really talk about it. I'll probably just let y'all know if I'm excited to read it or not, or who recommended it to me, as opposed to telling y'all all of the synopsis for synopsis for the 40+ books I have here. I just feel like that would be best, and you know, I'm not trying to keep y'all here long. So the 4 books that were already on my physical TBR are as follows, and that is The First to Die at the End. This is the prequel to They Both Die at the End. I talked about that in my first video. I really enjoyed that book, so I think I bought these in a set actually. And honestly, the first book, it's a hardback also, and it kind of broke in the front, so I don't know. We'll see if I get to it. If not, I'll probably give it to a free little library, but we'll see. Then I got This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. I really enjoyed Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, so I'm hoping that I enjoyed this. I've heard mixed reviews about this book, but I think I'm gonna enjoy it. I was looking forward to reading Soledad's story when I heard she was getting a book of her own, so I can't wait to read this one. Keeping up with the Kennedy Ryan theme, I got The Kingmaker. I was gonna, back in February, when I first started my BookTube channel, I didn't upload any videos, but back when I first decided I was going to make a BookTube channel, I was going to do a 1 week, 1 author type thing, and Kennedy Ryan was one of those. So I got this book to go along with that theme. But yeah, it never happened, obviously. So I do have this book. Lauren London did an interview. It was the GQ interview she did with Nipsey before he tragically passed away, and she talked about The Alchemist, and so I picked it up. I haven't read it yet. I think I started it but never really finished it. It's only 100 and something pages, so I may or may not finish this before the year's up. So yeah, so let's get into the Amazon packages. So, and this is in no specific order. It's not like I bought these in July, I bought these in August. It's just Amazon. So first up is The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak Magic by Brianne Randall. I think I heard about this on TikTok somewhere. I think it was either TikTok or it was YouTube, but I heard about it on one of those spaces. I'm excited to read this. I've only heard, I think, like 2 or 3 people talking about this. The 2 or 3 people that I follow. Sadie Revelair has always believed that the curse of 4 heartbreaks that accompanies her magic would be worth the price. But when her grandmother is diagnosed with cancer with only weeks to live and her first heartbreak, Jake McNeely, returns to town after a decade, her carefully structured life begins to unravel. With the news of their grandmother's impending death, Sadie's estranged twin brother Seth returns to town, bringing with him deeply buried family secrets that threaten to tear Sadie's world apart. Their grandmother has been the backbone of the family for generations, and with her death, Sadie isn't sure she'll have the strength to keep the family and her magic together. As feelings for Jake begin to rekindle, and with her grandmother growing sicker by the day, Sadie faces the last of her heartbreaks, and she has to decide, is love more important than magic? So that's that. There's 2 in this one. Okay, we have The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest. I was gonna say Frost. We have The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest. And this is the second book in the Green Sisters trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. This is the second one, and this follows Violet. The first one followed her sister. Don't tell me. I gotta look it up. Lily. Her name's Lily, duh, because they're all named after flowers. This one follows Violet, the second oldest sister, if I'm not mistaken, and I think this has like fake dating in it. She ends up in a marriage of convenience of some sort, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, can't wait to read this. Really enjoyed the first one. I have the Ethics series by Ashley Antoinette. I read Moth to a Flame in September, I believe. Moth to a Flame, they say to read that first and then read the Ethics series. But I'm really not sure on the reading order. I looked it up and that's what I came to the conclusion of. I know you're supposed to read Ethic before you read the Butterfly series, so. But I read Moth to a Flame in high school. I think I talked about that in my first video, and so I'm really intrigued to read about Ethic and his before and his after all of the drama that man has been involved in. So I'm not really a big urban romance girly anymore, but I do want to read these because these are kind of like nostalgic to me. I also want to go back and read Zane books again. I also like that the covers are like this and they have like the moths on them. And I got The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Y'all have seen this all over everywhere, so I'm not even going to talk about this, but I can't wait to read this. I know a lot of people say that despite it being a yellow cover that it gives fall read, so I think I might read this for my birthday. I'm off for like 4 days from my job, so I think I might read this for my birthday. Plus 7 is like one of my favorite numbers, so I'm excited to read that one. And we have Bride by Allie Hazelwood. Again, another very heavily talked about book in the book community. Marriage of Convenience, vampire. She's a vampire, he's a werewolf. And I think they marry, like the rival families come together by them being married. Not really 100% sure, but I know I wanted to read this because, you know, I'm a big vampire girly. But crazy thing is, I haven't read any vampire books, and I love me a good vampire movie. Vampires in general, love it. So obviously I picked this up because our queen here is a vampire and we love us a good vampire. Oh, I just recently bought these. I bought the Alex something series, and actually no, I'm gonna find it. The Alex Stern series, and that is Ninth House and Hellbent by Lee Bardugo. Not sure if I'm supposed to read anything before these, so I do need to do my research. But yeah, this I believe is dark academia, paranormal, I want to say trials, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm excited to read this. I know it takes place at Yale, and it follows our main character, Alex Stern. So also very heavily talked about in the book community, at least by people that I follow. So I'm not gonna talk about these, but it's Ninth House and Hellbent. I love this cover. I originally wanted the red one, but once I got this one, I was like, oh yeah, never mind. I love it. I love it. But yeah, I'm excited to read these. I think I actually started like page 1 of this one, but I really wasn't in the mood for like fantasy at that time. So I think I picked up like a romance book. But yeah, I'm excited for both of these. I'll probably read them back to back, honestly. I picked up The Darkest Child by Dolores Phillips. This is the first book that I'll be reading by this author. Haven't heard anything about it on excuse me, I haven't heard anything about this on any of the book spaces that I am in right now. So I will read you the synopsis. Parkersfield, Georgia, 1958. 13-year-old Tangi Mae Quinn is the 6th of 10 fatherless siblings. She is the darkest skinned among them and therefore the ugliest in her mother's estimation. But she's also the brightest. Her mother, Roselle, beautiful, charismatic, and light-skinned, exercises a violent hold over her children. Fearing abandonment. You cool? Fearing abandonment, she pulls them from school when they turn 12 and sends them to earn their keep, whether in domestic service in the fields or at the farmhouse on the edge of town, where Roselle beds local men for money. But Tangi Mae has been selected to be part of the first integrated class at a nearby white high school. She has a chance to change her life, but can she break from Roselle's grasp without ruinous, even fatal consequences? Obviously, I am a dark-skinned lady. I'm also the darkest of all of my siblings, so my mom obviously didn't call me ugly because I was dark-skinned, but I think I can relate to the whole feeling less pretty than growing up around lighter-skinned siblings. When I saw this, I was like, what's that about? Figured I'd read it. So I know this author also has passed away, so I'm not sure if she has other works, but I will look into it. I can't remember what this series is called. This is also a very heavily talked about series in the book community, and that is One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I love these covers. I think they're very beautiful. And these are by Rachel Gillick. Rachel Gillick. I almost said Gillio. Another series that is heavily talked about on the spaces. I believe this is YA, but you know, I've been enjoying some of the YA books that I've been reading this year, even though I'm in my 30s. I've been enjoying a lot of the YA books that have been coming out. So I look forward to reading this because it's very hyped up. I apologize if y'all hear people in the background. It's Sunday. People are home. It is what it is. So yeah, can't wait to read this series. I got Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I honestly could not tell y'all what this is about. I think I saw this. It was recommended to me on Amazon. Like Amazon just randomly recommended it to me because of a book I had read or bought. Basically, it takes place in 1950s Mexico, and after receiving a frantic letter from her newlywed cousin Noemi Taboada, it's to High Place, a distant house in the Mexican countryside. Noemi is an unlikely rescuer. She's a glamorous debutante, more suited for cocktail parties than amateur sleuthing, but she's also tough, smart, and not afraid. Not of her cousin's new English husband, a stranger who is both menacing and alluring. Not of his father, the ancient patriarch, who seems fascinated by Noemi, and not even of the house itself, which begins to invade Noemi's dreams with visions of blood and doom. I don't know what it's about, but I can't wait to read it. I got Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. Obviously, another heavily discussed book in the book community. I kind of read everything. I don't know if I said that at the beginning of the video, but I read everything. I read mystery, I read thriller. Apparently, I'm going to get into dark academia. I read fantasy, sci-fi. So, I'm very easily entertained also. I'm gonna read whatever. Like if it's on the internet and they're saying that it's a good book, I'm gonna buy it probably, and I'm gonna read it. So yeah, I got Butcher and Blackbird, and I actually started this book but wasn't in the mood for it. I think I'm currently reading, because I was gonna read this in October, but I think I'm currently reading. Actually, I'm gonna talk about that when I get to it because it's gonna be in this haul because I just started it. But anyways, Butcher and Blackbird, heavily talked about. Not gonna talk about it anymore. I figure I should go ahead and put this book in here because like I said, I'm currently reading it, and that is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. This has pictures in it. I don't want to spoil anything for myself, so I'm just gonna show y'all a picture at the beginning. Okay, this has like pictures in it from, I guess, sorry, ran out of space, but yeah, pictures of like the little boy's drawings that he does in it. And I know this follows a girl who had like, I think she was in like a halfway house, or she was in rehab or something like that, and then she becomes a nanny for this family, and the little boy is, I believe, possessed, and he's like drawing pictures, or he's not possessed, I think he has like a demonic imaginary friend or something like that, and he's like drawing pictures, and like the pictures are creepy, and I just need it in my life. So I think I'm gonna end October with this one. And I bought Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. I know a lot of people talk about you need to check your trigger warnings. I know that apparently the main character goes to school and Monday is not there. There's no synopsis. This is the story of how my best friend disappeared, how nobody noticed she was gone except me, and how nobody cared until they found her 1 year later. So I can't wait to read this. I know it talks heavily about Black girls disappearing and people not really caring, or people not really putting in the effort to find them. And so I'm excited to read this. I heard it's really emotional, so I probably won't read this until like the winter months. So yeah, we'll see. I got Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This will be my first Riley Sager book. I heard this is like Amityville horror, where it's like a haunted house type of vibe, or like a possessed house type of vibe. This will be my first Riley Sager book, so I look forward to reading this as well. I also picked this up because it was very heavily talked about in the book community, so I'm not gonna really talk too much about this. So then I got The King of Wrath by Anna Huang. I've only read one book by her, and I did like it. So this is the first book in the King of Sin series. I love the spines on these books and how they're all different colors depending on which sin you're reading about. But yeah, and I got People We Meet by Emily Henry. This will be the second book I read by her because I believe I'm reading in publication order, and I think this one came out after Beach Read, and I've already read Beach Read. So this will be the second book that I read by her. Another heavily talked about book on BookTube, so I'm not going to really talk about it, but I am excited to read more of Emily Henry's writing. Now we're going to get into the boxes. I finally throw this packaging away and put my books on the shelf. This next author, I do understand she has had a problematic past. I didn't know about it until I had already started reading her books, until I had already purchased her books. So I am going to show it in the haul. Probably won't talk about it much on my channel or any videos where I'm talking about books that I've read. But I am going to show you because I bought it and it's a part of this haul. A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Like I said, I'm not going to talk much about it. This was a very heavily talked about series on the internet, but I do love that her books are thick, but they're floppy. So yeah, I've read the other 4. I guess technically 3.5 because this is technically book 4. And I'm enjoying the series. I am probably going to continue to read the series as it comes out. I probably won't buy it new, just, you know, for the people in the back who are booing me. But I am going to continue reading the series. So yeah, that's a whole other side of book talk that I really don't want to be involved in. Oh, these books, this author in general, this author in general, I'm very excited to read about. I'm very excited to read her work. I have 4 books by her to read, and I'm excited for all of them. The first is a series, and that is the Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang. I did buy it in the box set because I love a good set. It comes with the Poppy War, which is book 1, the Dragon Republic, which is book 2, and the Burning God, which is book 3. I'm putting them off for like the perfect time because I just know I'm gonna love them. And so yeah, the Poppy War trilogy. Y'all, I am so excited to get these boxes out of my room. Now everything can go on the shelf and they can just wait to be read. I low-key want to get a TBR cart, but I'm like, is that too much? I think when I move and I'm in my own space and I can finally have my own little like library room, I'll get one. But for right now, we're just gonna focus on putting them on the shelf so they can get out my closet. So I got the first book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. I was told to start with this one first, then Chestnut Springs, and then the Rose Hill series, because the Rose Hill series just came out. Chestnut Springs is before that, and then obviously Gold Rush Ranch. Gold Rush Ranch was first. So I got off to the races. I did only get the first book just because, like I said, I've never read anything about this author before, and I also have never read a cowboy romance. I've read like small town romance, but I've never read a cowboy romance, and so I'm not sure if it's really my thing yet. So I just got the first one just to fill it out. I love these covers. I can't wait to get the rest of them if I enjoy this book, which I think I will, because I'm a very big romance girly. I got Take My Hand by Dolan Perkins Valdez. I heard this is another like emotional read. Montgomery, Alabama, 1973. Fresh out of nursing school, Sybil Townsend intends to make a difference, especially in her African American community. At the Montgomery Family Planning, I can't read apparently. At the Montgomery Family Planning Clinic, she hopes to help women shape their destinies to make their own choices for their lives and bodies. But when her first week on the job takes her along a dusty country road to a worn-down one-room cabin, Sybil is shocked to learn that her new patients, Erica and India, are children, just 11 and 13 years old. Neither of the Williams sisters has even been kissed by a boy, but they are poor and black, and for those handling the family's welfare benefits, that's reason enough to have the girls on birth control. As Sybil grapples with her role, she takes India, Erica, and their family into her heart, until one day she arrives at their door to learn the unthinkable has happened, and nothing will ever be the same. Decades later, with her daughter grown and a long career in her wake, Dr. Sybil Townsend is ready to retire, to find her peace and to leave the past behind. But there are people and stories that refuse to be forgotten, that must not be forgotten, because history repeats what we don't remember. Inspired by true events and brimming with hope, Take My Hand is stirring exploration of accountability and redemption. So I'm sure this is going to be a very heavy read. Obviously, check your triggers on anything before you read it. I can't wait to read this. We're almost done. We are almost done. So these are 3 more books that were recommended a lot through Book Talk, not BookTube, Book Talk. Bookish by Tammy. Trey read that. This book right here, I think, has been pushed to me since I've been like doing research on BookTube and Book Talk and Bookstagram and all that. I heard this is a very emotional read. You get very tied to the characters, attached to the characters. And I mean, I'm good for that anyway. So I also heard that this book is like Avatar, Last Airbender type vibes. And so I used to love that show growing up. I still love that show. I'll watch it to this day. And so I'm excited to read this, but it's called The Sword of Kaigan. I'm so excited to read this. I'm so excited that I haven't read it. I just know it's gonna be good. I just know it's gonna be good. So she's a thick one. It's by M.L. Wong, right? Yes. And it is a Theonite war story. And I believe they have like, they can like ice bend, and they're like samurais and things like that. And so I'm excited to read this. So it's a standalone novel about a 14-year-old boy named Mamoru, I think that's how you say it, who lives in a warrior culture on the Kusanagi Peninsula. Kaigan tells the story of the legendary Matsuda family, a very traditional family of ice-wielding samurai who live on the tip of a peninsula called the Sword of Kaigan. The sword is the first line of defense for the empire against all of the surrounding countries that do not hold the empire in good regard. So then I bought The Rage of Dragons duology, and that is by Evan Winter. I freaking love these covers. I eat them up every time anybody talks about them online. These books, like I said, were recommended to me through TikTok by Bookish by Tammy, and Trey read that. And I'm not really going to tell y'all what the second book is about, because obviously I bought the second book because I was intrigued by the first book. And typically if it's just a duology, like if it's just 2 books in a series, I'm gonna go ahead and buy both of them. And if it's more than 2, I'll usually wait unless I know for sure I'm gonna like the series. And so I went ahead and I bought both of these. So 1 in every 2,000 women has the power to call down dragons. 1 in every 100 men is able to magically transform himself into a bigger, stronger, faster killing machine. Everyone else is fodder, destined to fight and die in the endless war. Young giftless Tao knows all this, but he has a plan of escape. And he ends up seeking revenge after his loved ones are murdered. You do read that on the back. That is not a spoiler. So it's a book about vengeance. It's a book about revenge, and I love me a good revenge story. Game of Thrones meets Gladiator, and I've only seen the first season of Game of Thrones, but I liked it, and I love me a good Gladiator movie, story, all of that good stuff. So boom, all of that in one. I'm here for it. Can't wait to read it. I know it's gonna be 7, 8, 9, 10 stars. Does anybody keep count? How many books have we seen so far? I got Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I think I have every Emily Henry book except for Funny Story, and that's just because I'm simply just waiting for it to come out in paperback. They only have it in hardcover right now. Honestly, it might be in paperback now. But anyways, I got Book Lovers. I think this is the 3rd book I'm meant to read by her. Then I got Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola. Honey and Spice, heavily talked about on Book Talk a lot, at least by the Black content creators. So I'm not gonna really talk much about this. Heard that the banter is really good in here. Oh, there's a fake relationship. That's what it says on the back. Oh, she's beautiful. Okay, and she's a London-based writer. I can't wait to read this. I love the cover. I think I showed y'all that already, but I love it. I love me a good cover where the 2 main characters, or even just one of the main characters, is a dark-skinned female. So, because you know, dark skin, love it. Eat it up. Eat it up. So then I got the 3rd book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy. Actually, yeah, it's a trilogy, and I believe they have like a novella also, which I want to read. It's called Killjoy. I'll probably buy that sometime soon. But yeah, this is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. I am really enjoying the series. I think book 1 and 2 both got 5 stars for me. For this to be YA, I feel like it's really, really good. And I'm glad that I continued to read YA, because at first I was like, I'm not reading no more young adult books. I'm 30. Why am I reading young adult books? These young adult books, and sometimes I don't even think it should be young adult. I really feel like a lot of these need to be like new adult, coming of age type things, because some of the stuff they be doing, I'll be like, why are you doing that? And you a young adult? Anyways, I can't wait to read this. There's a lot of duct tape on this, so it scares me. But yeah, I want to read more about Holly Jackson. So this book, before I get to it, is about the complicated nature of love, addiction, and the mistakes we make. They meet in high school, where Jamie immediately starts dating B's best friend. They develop a strong friendship despite B's feelings for Jamie. A love letter to whiskey. I know there's like a cheating trope. I don't know how true that is. I'm not really like, I don't think there's a trope that I wouldn't read. I don't think I'd read like anything incestual. I don't know. It's not really too many tropes that I wouldn't read. Like, I don't really care for the whole cheating thing. Like, you know, I've been cheated on. Why am I mean, that doesn't really trigger me. It is what it is, you know? So I don't really have any tropes that I wouldn't read about, but I do know that this has a cheating trope in it. So check your trigger warnings. I heard this is really good though, and I've been intrigued by it since I heard about it all on Book Talk, sorry. And I got the 5th anniversary edition from Amazon. Finally, the last box. So then we got the 4th book that I need to read by Emily Henry, and that is Happy Place. I know a lot of people say that this is their favorite one by her. I personally think I'm probably gonna like Funny Story more, just from hearing what like people have said about it. Haven't read it yet, but I think that that's probably gonna be my #1 pick. Beach Read was okay, but I don't think it's gonna be my #1. So yeah, I can't wait to read this. These next books are also heavily talked about, so I'm just gonna show y'all really quickly. I got Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I bought this originally because I thought it was like some type of like circus thing, but then I also wanted to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and they said to read this first. So I got Caraval. Obviously I only got the first one because there are 3 books, and I don't know if I'm gonna like this. It's also YA, but I heard this is like trials and something else, fantasy. And so I can't wait to read it. I absolutely eat these covers up. They're beautiful. Like, they're actually gorgeous. So then I got book 3 and 4 from Amazon of the Twisted series, and that is Twisted Lies and Twisted Hate. Can't wait to read these. I really did like Twisted Love. It wasn't like 5 stars or anything like that, but I feel like for what it was really good. So I can't wait to read book 2, which I got from Barnes & Noble. That's why it's not here. But I got 3 and 4 from Amazon. And I liked book 1, so obviously I bought the rest of them. So now we're gonna get into the Barnes & Noble books, and that'll be it for this video. This one I got from Target, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six. You can tell I got it from Target because they put that ugly ass sticker on the cover of the book. This will be my second book by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I really enjoyed that book. I think I gave it 5 stars. Still trying to figure out how I'm gonna get this sticker off of here without ripping the cover of my book, but Target, why do you do this? At least wrap it in plastic first. I just don't really understand that. My first Barnes & Noble trip, I bought all of these different trips, different times. Some I bought one at a time, some I bought all together. Second book in the Twisted series, and that is Twisted Games by Anna Huang. I read Abby Jimenez for the first time this year, and I really enjoyed those books. Like, when I say really, I mean like 5.5 stars, 6 stars, that type of really enjoyed it. So obviously I got Just for the Summer. When am I gonna read this, you might add? Who knows, maybe when I'm missing summer. But love this cover. Like I said, I read Part of Your World and I read Yours Truly. So this is the third in that standalone series. Another heavily talked about series, so I'm not gonna harp on about it, but can't wait to read it. I love Abby Jimenez's writing, and I can't wait to read her other series, which I can't remember the name of it, but I can't wait to read it. I believe it's called the Friend Zone series or something like that. Either way, can't wait to read it. And I got the heavily talked about Magnolia Park series. I started this book and I wasn't really feeling it at that time, so I just put it back in the stack of to be read. But obviously I got the Magnolia Park series. This is the US covers. I wish that I could get the UK covers, but I had already bought this one and I just don't really, I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't really feeling it when I first started reading. I think I got past the first Magnolia POV and then the first BJ POV, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not really in the mood for this right now. So I think I'm just gonna stick to the US covers because I don't really think I'm gonna enjoy it as much as other people did enough to buy the UK covers. They are beautiful though, I will give you that. So another heavily talked about series on Book Talk is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This is also a series trilogy, if I'm not mistaken, and I got the first book. It's YA. It is heavily talked about, so I'm not gonna talk about it on here, but I love, like actually love, the detail of the edges. Love it, love it. And I love the cover in all its beauty, obviously. So yeah, another YA fantasy that I can't wait to read. I know it talks about the Orisha magic fantasy, enemies to lovers. Anybody who knows me knows that I love Lovecraft Country. That is one of my favorite shows. I will rewatch it over and over and over again. It's about time for me to rewatch it. But those of you who also know, they canceled it. They canceled it, and I'm still not over it because how? Why? Hello? Jonathan Majors was literally made for that role, and they canceled it. And so me being who I am, I want to know how it ends. So I bought the books. And the first book is Lovecraft Country, obviously. And the second book is The Destroyer of Worlds. Yes, by Matt Ruff. Hear me out. I did not know that a white man wrote these books. And honestly, don't know how to feel about it. Because if you've seen Lovecraft Country, now granted, I know the director was black, and I'm pretty sure the people who were in the writer's room were black. But you mean to tell me that that black ass show was written by a white man? I don't know how to feel about it. I'm gonna read it and I'll let y'all know. We'll see. And I'm gonna get something to put in that. So just, oh yay, I forgot about this. So I guess I'll show this. The first thing I got is a Zodiac Elements Charm bookmark. Obviously I'm a Scorpio, so I got the water sign. You can't really see it, but yeah, I'm a water sign. So I got that one. And I just thought it was so beautiful. So these first books I'm gonna talk about are by Octavia Butler. I've heard nothing but great things about all of her books. If I'm not mistaken, Fledgling was meant to be this is about a vampire, and not only she's a vampire, but she's a 53-year-old vampire, but she's trapped in a 10-year-old's body. So not only is she like childlike to the human world, she's childlike to vampires, because you know vampires are usually hundreds, thousands, centuries years old, and she's only 53. She wakes up, she has no memory. I can't wait to read this shit. It's another vampire novel, and I love me a good vampire. The font is little, okay? She's little. So although this book is only 300 and something pages, it's barely 300 pages. It's like 315. That font is little, so it's gonna make it feel like 400. And then I got Dawn. This is a part of a series, futuristic. I also want to read The Parable of the something. I can't remember the name of it, but it's another highly recommended book by her. I didn't get it because it was also a part of a series, and I have enough series, so I'm gonna wait to get that one. But I do have this one, and I heard it's really good. It's a sci-fi book, sci-fi, fantasy, science fiction, whatever you call it. Takes place in space. There's a spaceship involved. She has to restore Earth. Nope. The restored Earth is ready for inhabitants. They want Lilith to help awaken the rest of the survivors and rebuild humankind. I'm gonna eat it up. I know I am. I believe there are 2 other books, so there are 3 altogether. But I can't wait to read this because I know it's good, and I haven't heard, besides the, you know, stuff that happens in Fledgling, I haven't heard anything bad about any of her books. The next book is Chain Gang All Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. I am so sorry. This follows like a futuristic, what's the word I'm looking for? Not apocalyptic. I guess it would be considered apocalyptic. Not really sure. But basically it follows like this storyline where the prisoners, if you have like a long sentence, like prison sentence, you can duel it out over a span of 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. You know what? Let me look it up for you. No spoilers. Dystopian, that's the word I was looking for, not apocalyptic. Dystopian. It's a dystopian novel about a prison system where incarcerated people fight to the death for freedom in televised gladiator matches. If that doesn't sound like something that not only would I watch on TV, that I would read time and time again, I don't know what will. But I can't wait to read that. That is one of the books that was recommended to me like since I've started my reading journey, since I've been on TikTok looking up recommendations. That's been one of the ones that has always been recommended by not only by a Black author, but fantasy sci-fi type read. This is in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, and this is also another vampire series, The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I've heard nothing but good things about this. It's a vampire, and I believe he adopts like a human daughter, and he raises her in the vampire world. And so yeah, The Serpent of Wings of Night has all the fun of A Court in Thorns and Roses. So I enjoyed that, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy this. This is the first book. There are 2 books and a novella, and the 3rd book comes out next year, if I'm not mistaken. Can't wait to read this. The hardcovers are absolutely beautiful, but I do not like reading hardcover books. But I think I'm gonna get the hardcovers just so I can have them, because I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I'm not one of those people who buy like special edition books and all this and that, but I think I would get the special edition of these if I like this, just because I really even like the paperback. This is raised. I think this is also very beautiful, but those hardcovers are gorgeous. And then I got Babel by R.F. Wong. This was heavily talked about on social media as far as like the book community goes, so I'm not going to go into heavy detail about it, but I know, well, I've heard that the writing is very beautiful and the book is heavily emotional, and I just can't wait to read about it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna read Babel before I read The Poppy War. So then I got 2 books by V.E. Schwab, another author that was that I was heavily influenced by Eden Yonis. She talks about V.E. Schwab. She loves V.E. Schwab down. So I was like, you know what? I like you and you like V.E. Schwab. So I'm gonna read V.E. Schwab. And the first book I got, I think I bought this one first, is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I think this cover is so pretty. This is another heavily talked about book on the internet and in the book community. It's basically about a girl who, I think she, in a moment of desperation, a young woman named Adeline meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake. She basically, like, I guess gets granted to live forever, and people forget her. Like the second they look away from her, they don't remember her, but then one day somebody remembers her, and it's just like this big ordeal. And so obviously I cannot wait to read this. I heard it is very slow in the beginning, but that it gets really good at the end and it's very emotional. Not sure if it's really emotional, but every time I've seen somebody read this, they've cried. So, and I'm a crier. I cry during books. Can't wait to read this. Can't wait to cry. So then I got Vicious, because Eden told me to get Vicious, so I got Vicious. Okay. Oh, this is a series. I didn't know that. This has a second book out called Vengeful, it looks like. So this follows Victor and Eli. They started out as college roommates, and now they are in their senior year, and they share a research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events. And that reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. Gonna read it. I'm gonna eat it up. We're ending on a very good note because I am very excited to read this book. This author actually popped up on my For You page before her book did. And I knew I'm gay. I had to have it. I knew I had to have it. Just the cover alone. Just the cover alone. I want to give it 5 stars, but I can't because I haven't read it yet. I don't even gotta say nothing. And with that, that is the end of today's video. That was a big ass haul of books. I didn't realize I had that many books. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books. Obviously, don't put no spoilers in my comments. You will never be able to comment again. I hate spoilers. I would never spoil anything for you, so don't spoil anything for me. But yeah, let me know if you read any of these books, what you rated them, if you liked them, if you recommend them, if I should read something in a certain order that I didn't know about, because please, I'm good for it. Let me know. And yeah, that is it for this book haul. I've been talking for a very long time and I'm ready to take this makeup off. So yeah, I'm out of here. Oh, also, do not forget, when I reach 500 subscribers, one of you will be getting a book from me off of your wish list. So, subscribe. You know, I mean, come on. You might be the person to win the book. Just subscribe. You might be the person that wins. But yeah, we got some time to go. But, you know, I feel like I would throw that in there because, you know, just in case, you know, if you want to, maybe win a book. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. I'm getting used to being on camera. Things flowed a lot better today than they did when I filmed the good old every book I've read so far this year. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say to y'all besides, you know, subscribe. Bye.